Hi, my name's Devin McNichol. I'm a proud associate of the Casualty Actuarial Society. As someone who spent much of my actuarial career focused on homeowners and commercial property insurance, I've had some time to think about cats. No, not that kind of cats. I mean catastrophes. That kind. While it's my job to think about catastrophes from an insurance standpoint, it's impossible not to also think of them from the standpoint of a concerned global citizen. Many of us are wondering what climate change means for the future of our health, homes, families, communities, wealth, and well-being. Ever increasingly, we hear climate change being discussed, politicized, and argued over. But here are some of the things we know. So basically, it's not looking good. Which brings me to my product idea. Depression insurance. Just kidding. But seriously, actuaries are supposed to be math wizards, future predictors, risk mitigators, right? We trained for this. We studied. We cried. At least I did. So what are we doing about it? The traditional way that most U.S. home insurers mitigate climate change risk includes raising rates, underwriting out large sections of the population, charging more for financial-based factors like credit, or excluding certain types of losses altogether. The truth is, the homeowners insurance industry is ill-prepared to handle the devastating effects that climate change is expected to have on our communities. Unfortunately, we know these negative impacts will disproportionately affect the poorest and most vulnerable populations. At some point, the financial risk will outweigh the reward for insurers, and their products will either become too exclusive or unaffordable. Sometimes as an actuary, it's easy to forget that the overall purpose of insurance is to reduce the financial uncertainty associated with unexpected loss. Insurance's function is at its core community-focused. In fact, modern property insurance can be traced to the Great Fire in London in 1666. That event, in the words of mathematician Sir Christopher Wren, changed insurance from a matter of convenience into one of urgency. I would argue that today we are standing at a similar precipice where the need for insurance will be fundamental and urgent for those facing catastrophic events. I believe that as actuaries, it's our prerogative to push further, to do more, to be an active, deliberate, logical, and data-driven voice in the conversation surrounding climate change. So, what can we do? Well, according to the 2017 CDP Carbon Majors Report, since 1988, 100 companies have been responsible for 71% of the entire world's industrial greenhouse gas emissions. It only seems logical that we might enlist some of these companies to help alleviate the burden. If we could harness more corporate resources and direct them towards the problem at hand, we'd be in a better position to help the vulnerable populations impacted by climate change. While there are some options like carbon taxes that force corporations to contribute to the solution, these are contentious and most do nothing to address property loss for populations that are already experiencing stronger catastrophic events. However, I believe with the right product, we could incentivize corporations to voluntarily create win-win situations between company and community. This leads me to my actual product idea. Corporate-funded catastrophe mitigation and reparations insurance. Okay, I'll workshop the name. But the premise is to create an insurance product funded by corporations that indemnifies communities and individuals that may be under or even uninsured in the event of a catastrophe. Many companies across all industries, from oil to tech, are voluntarily looking for ways to reduce their carbon footprints and move towards a more climate-friendly business model. They are seeking options and products that will help with their public relations, appease increasingly climate-focused investors, and ease their environmental consciences. In fact, the Climate Policy Initiative estimates that companies spent $124 billion on climate investment in 2020 alone. This corporate-funded pooled insurance product would be used as a pathway for companies to alleviate the financial burden of climate change on low-income, underdeveloped communities. Here are some questions you might have about a product like this.
Shouldn't we be more focused on initiatives like carbon removal and emissions reduction?
Generally, the forward-thinking goal of climate action is to reduce emissions. However, we also need to direct some focus on the harm already done. An insurance product of this nature would help alleviate some of the immediate concerns of the communities who need it. In addition, adding clauses into the product that incentivize relocation of at-risk properties and/or rebuilding in ways that mitigate the risk to certain types of weather-related loss can move communities towards a more sustainable equilibrium and reduce the risk of future repeated loss.
How could a product like this be marketed and sold?
Well, companies already exist whose sole purpose is helping large corporations create and execute climate action plans. Partnering with these types of initiatives could add a tool in the toolbox for those that are already addressing the needs of the climate change issue.
Why not invest the money directly instead of paying the fees associated with an insurance product?
In the event of a loss, insurance companies already have the systems in place to identify risk, assess damage, and indemnify policyholders. These existing systems can be used to streamline the process and ensure more efficiency and less fraud than a traditional emergency fund. As much as I'd like to answer all the questions, I'm unfortunately out of time. But I'd like to highlight that this is just one product idea aimed at reducing the impacts of the climate crisis. This is a problem that requires many solutions. It requires teamwork and collaboration. I know actuaries can play a role in the solution if we work together and continue to diversify products and ideas. We have the opportunity and the skills to help our planet, our communities, as well as propel our profession to new heights if we choose to do so. So to all you actuaries out there contributing toward the journey across the bridge to tomorrow, thank you, and I look forward to working with you.